homeschooling. In our homeschool, we have a motto: education is a journey, not a destination. So relax, it's only homeschooling. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the podcast. My name is Kimberly Bennett, and I am your host. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for giving us a listen. A little bit about me. I'm a licensed professional counselor turned homeschool mom of 1. I'm also an advocate for homeschooling children with learning differences. For more of my story and background, feel free to listen to episode 1 or check out my website at itsonlyhomeschooling.com. Today, in episode 6, we are featuring a new community outreach organization for November, Christ's Haven. Adopted to adopt. Broadening your mind. Historically, when I think of the word adoption, I think of the most commonly referred to definition: the action of legally taking another's child and bringing it up as one's own, or the fact of being adopted. Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary. Yet there is also a second definition: the action or fact of choosing to take up or follow or use something. And when I stop to think about it, it is in the spirit of this second definition that the Salt and Light Spotlight was created. With this segment, our goal is to lift up, shine a light on, and bring awareness to the good works of some amazing outreach organizations, both local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and across the globe. Message received. Confession. Listening to the first few words of my pastor's message a few weeks ago, I felt both inspired and afraid. The title of Pastor Josh Morris's sermon for that week: Adopted to Adopt. Seated, I listened with rapt attention as Pastor Josh spoke openly and candidly of the message God had put on his heart: adoption. I felt a deep connection with the hesitancy and trepidation of hearing his Heavenly Father's command and then gathering his courage to walk in obedience to present such a request to his congregation. I am neither a public speaker nor a pastor, but as a therapist, I know all too well the power our words hold and the delicate grace required to communicate our message to others in a manner such that it is not only received, but received well. And when the message is not ours, but that of the ultimate in upper management, right, no pressure like added pressure. I feel you, Moses. You could almost feel the tension in the room as Pastor Josh recounted his intimate conversation with the Lord. You know the feeling. Kind of like when one of your siblings is teetering on the edge of trouble and trying to talk their way out of it. You feel equal parts sympathy and relief that it is them in the hot seat and not you. And yet, when you think about it, we are all on the spot for this one. Pastor Josh just happened to be our spokesperson and messenger. In Adopted to Adopt, Pastor Josh challenged all those who could hear his voice to heed the call of stewardship and service. Beneath the history lesson of adoption in the U.S. and the startling statistics of children either waiting for homes or currently in the foster care system, there was a deeper message. A message of hope and opportunity. An invitation to pay forward the generous gift our Heavenly Father bestowed on each and every one of us as believers and children of God. We have been adopted to adopt. Regardless of which definition of the word you choose, the message is clear. As Christians, adoption is central to the gospel. Ephesians 1:4, Ephesians 2:1, Ephesians 2:3, and Galatians 4:4. The Bible calls us to see those that are vulnerable and in need and to adopt their problems as our own. Pastor Josh Morris, Gateway Church. In honor of National Adoption Month for November, It's Only Homeschooling is honored to highlight a wonderful organization that has been restoring the lives of children in the DFW area through normalcy, dignity, and hope for nearly 70 years. Christ's Haven. Family makes the home. In 1954, Fort Worth, Texas couple Homer and Lillian Stedman wanted to provide a home for disadvantaged children, and before long, they had 10 children in their care. But the Stedmans knew countless other children also needed a loving home. The couple quickly realized their growing family needed more room to grow. The Stedmans saw a need in the world and decided to do something about it. In 1956, the Stedmans reached out to other families in the area who shared their belief that all children deserve a loving home to grow up in. Together, these like-minded citizens joined forces and purchased farmland on which to build cottages and provide children in need with a more traditional home life. Christ's Haven was born. Nestled on 58 acres of land in Keller, Texas, lies a beautiful community of neighborhood homes with playgrounds, a chapel, a gymnasium, a pool, basketball courts, and a soccer field. Mounds of soft green grass, ripe for running through in your bare feet, and a pond with a gazebo for fishing or skipping rocks adorn the landscape. In the homes are families just like yours and mine. Families who have been brought together by love, faith, and hope. As we are all made differently, so are these families, but they are families nonetheless. Christ's Haven. Different from either traditional adoption or foster care, Christ's Haven is a free, voluntary placement program. Neither an orphanage nor a form of institutional care, children live in cottage-style typical family homes with house parents. In this way, they operate as a family, preparing meals together, school routines, and typical family activities. Children come to Christ's Haven under a variety of circumstances and stay for different periods of time, some a few months and others years. When parents and or legal guardians have exhausted other caregiving resources, Christ's Haven is there. Referrals are received through the community, like churches, schools, word of mouth, and our Department of Family Services caseworkers. The program provides a trauma-informed family model of care, a basic level of care less intensive than therapeutic care or residential treatment care. Our experience with Christ's Haven. Our family's first experience with Christ's Haven was during our recent attendance at their annual Fall Festival and Open House. During this festive occasion, patrons come together to sponsor bounce houses, food trucks, games, trunk or treating, face painting, activities, a pumpkin patch, and a costume contest. Fun and fellowship aside, the event provides an opportunity for members of the community to learn more about the organization. Christ's Haven families open their doors to their homes and their hearts to welcome visitors, answer questions, and educate. This special event provides an opportunity for both camaraderie and conviviality, but it also provides for so much more. It provides an opportunity to learn about diversity, empathy, faith, and generosity, teachable moments that extend beyond any textbook or classroom. During our visit, my son and I were honored to meet with one family, Our knock on their cottage door was answered by smiling house-parent Dina, her husband, and 4 giggling little girls. Dressed in matching Dalmatian-themed costumes, the young ladies graciously took my son on a tour of their home, excitingly showing him their rooms and pointing out the personal gallery of artwork that adorned their home. During our tour, I chatted with Dina about our homeschool service project, and she shared how she answered the call God had put on her heart many years prior to care for children. Soft-spoken, with kind eyes and a gentle smile, I watched as Dina patiently divided her attention among the 4 little girls, all while fielding questions from the endless stream of guests visiting her home on this busy day. During our tour, she pointed out childhood photos of her 4 now grown children nestled on a hallway shelf just beyond the kitchen. I listened as she lovingly shared stories of the children she had cared for over the years, including one second-generation child currently in her care. Her eyes shone with a mother's and now grandmother's unconditional love as she recounted the day she was in the delivery room when the youngest little girl in the house was born. The mother of the little girl, a former cottage resident herself. The extended family remains close to the lively 3-year-old's mother, who visits often, including today, to take her daughter around the grounds and enjoy the festivities. What makes Christ's Haven so special is not the grounds, although beautiful, the amenities, plentiful, or even the programming, resourceful. No, what makes it special is its heart, the focus on family, the embodiment of the belief that every child deserves the best, most typical childhood experience possible while treating them with dignity and hope, and also equipping them for better days ahead, all from a traditional family-style in-home setting. Normalcy, dignity, hope. After our tour, a quick art show, and an impromptu game of keepy-uppy with a balloon, it was time to go. The family had many other guests eager to meet them, and we did not want to monopolize their time. However, I do know one thing. This will not be our family's last encounter with Christ's Haven. We are currently exploring ways to support this amazing program in some capacity by doing our part to make a difference in our community. And I hope we encourage other families, homeschoolers, public schoolers, and private schoolers alike, to do the same. Today I am humbled to have the opportunity to speak with a staff member from Christ's Haven, VP of Programs, Maddie Churchman. Ms. Churchman is an attorney with experience working for the National Council for Adoption. She is also a foster mom and has adopted through the foster care system. Today she shares both her personal and professional insights about adoption, as well as her experience working with Christ's Haven. Hello, Ms. Churchman. How are you today?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to get to share and just talk with you today.
I'm so grateful that you took some time out of your busy schedule to just chat with us about, and be a part of our little project that we have here with the Salt and Light Spotlight. So can you tell me what led you to be involved with Christ's Haven?
Absolutely. So I was practicing family law for a few years and really went to law school to do foster care and adoption work. I wasn't sure if the Lord was calling me to do policy side or do, advocacy through representing clients in the just typical, family law way. And as I was working at at the family law firm, a friend of mine told me about Christ Haven, and I just felt such a, hey, you need to apply for this. And it's funny, I kept pushing it off because I was like, I'm not looking for a new job. I am doing well. I'm starting to really, thrive in this setting. But there was that nudge over and over, the Holy Spirit being like, I'm telling you what to do. Listen. So I reached out. I applied, and then 2 days later, they interviewed me, and then 2 days after that, they interviewed me again, and then I was here a few weeks later. So it's always been just a call on my life. I knew to do foster care and adoption work, and it felt like just stepping into really like what the Lord had intentionally planned out and set before me the first time that I got here at Christ Haven.
That is absolutely beautiful. And it is absolutely amazing also how we can have plans for our life. And we were talking earlier about how we have backup plans for A, B, C, D, and E. And inevitably the Lord's going to come along and go, oh, so let's go this direction and see if you're willing to walk in obedience with that. And it's a scary thing to walk in obedience.
It was a big change, but it was the first time that it really felt like just living our dream, right? My husband was pursuing his passions and I was pursuing mine, and it was so incredible how the Lord just lined that up for us.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing what led you to Christ Haven. In honor of November, which is Adoption Awareness Month, and piggybacking on a little bit of a recent sermon from my pastor at Gateway Church, Adopted to Adopt, our pastor was challenging us to kind of broaden our minds and think beyond the traditional definition of adoption, which means to bring someone else's child into your home legally. There's so many different ways that adoption can be viewed. What does adoption mean to you? You personally are an adoptive and foster mom, correct?
Yes. I love that. I love that your pastor is like intentionally bringing this to your church, because I heard someone who's a former foster youth say, if your church doesn't have a foster care or adoption ministry, like I think you're missing a big part of the Lord's heart, which I think is incredible. So for me, adoption has blessed our family more than we could have imagined. I always tell people we became foster parents not because we wanted to adopt, but because we wanted to love on families. We were young. We had not even tried to have biological kids, at that point, and just knew, had strong conviction, like God's putting this in front of us. And so we got licensed, my husband and I. We were 24, and brought home our first kiddo, who's actually our daughter now. So more than we could have imagined or even known to ask for, right? And
that is amazing.
So yes, she's 3. She's the funniest person in the entire world.
That is the best age.
She's just got a little extra spark, extra magic in her that God put inside of her that I'm not even kidding you. People stop me all the time and are like, she's the most precious person I've ever seen. And I'm like, well, of course I think that, but it's hilarious how often people say she has a special spirit. But it's to us, we don't view it as just like stopping there, right? We look at the families that we've gotten to love with each kid who's been through our home after our daughter, and feel like we've been able to adopt their entire family into our big picture of our family. I tell people our family looks different than other people's, and I like it that way. Our second baby that we fostered, she was adopted by the family who had previously adopted her brother, but they didn't know about her until she was like 5 months old. And at that point, we had already been asked if we would adopt her and put our, I guess, not hesitant, but just maybe like, I don't know, God, what are you doing with this? Yes, on the table. And then that was a Friday, and the following Monday we got a call saying, hey, the family who adopted her brother actually just found out about her and they want her. And of course, that's not a fun phone call to receive, just it wasn't what we thought was going to happen. But through that, the Lord taught us, like, she's actually not yours, she's mine. And I love her. And so we are now close with the family who adopted her. We get to see her be with her brother. And they bless us every now and then. They let us come and pick her up and surprise our family with her. And then our third set, who were brothers, they were Irish twins, so 6 months and 18 months when we brought them home. They're older now. Their parents worked really, really hard to reunify with them, and we got to come alongside them in that. The first time we FaceTimed them, it was during the pandemic, like height of the pandemic, and we FaceTimed them, and my husband, bless him, sweetest person, looked at the dad especially and said, I just want you to know, we do not want to keep your kids. So if you need us to call you, send you pictures, do whatever, so that you can put one foot in front of the next to keep going to get to reunification, like, we want to do that for you. And I was texting with their mom a couple weeks ago. She sends me pictures. I send her pictures of my kids. And to me, adoption has been like a commitment that our family is not just the ones that we legally adopt or the ones that, come from me and my husband. But it's every single person that we get to really get to know through our ministry of being foster parents. And then as I came to work at Christ Haven, it's even bigger because none of our kids here at Christ Haven are adoptable. They have families. They go on family visits, and our house parents love their families so well. So it's really the commitment of our house parents and the staff here at Christ Haven to embracing their entire family and walking with them through really tough seasons, because kids come here for all kinds of different reasons. Sometimes it's because of domestic violence. Sometimes someone's incarcerated. Sometimes they're just not sure how they're going to make rent and put food on the table. And so for us, it's family, right? In a really complicated but beautiful way.
In an unconditional love way. Mm-hmm. That is what I heard over and over. That is what my heart heard.
Yes, and it's not always easy. I think that a fear of a lot of people when they do care for a kid who's not biologically theirs is, but what if I get too attached? Well, that's the entire point. You should do that. Because if you don't, you're doing yourself and this child a disservice. But that means that we're opening our heart to hurt, right? Because I sent 3 kids home who I loved 100%, but the Lord had something different for their family and something different for our family. And so it's hard work, and it's definitely a family call.
It absolutely is. And it's that walking in obedience, walking in faith, and going, okay, this might even be my trial, but I'm not going to go through that trial alone. I'm going to go through this and come out the other side even stronger in my character and stronger in my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that very personal anecdote, because I think you highlighted some of the biggest fears, including my own. I'll admit it.
Hey, that's okay. I've heard that from so many people that I get to talk to about foster care and adoption, because it's my favorite thing to talk about. And so I always like to just tell people, for us, leaning into the hard has been so enriching to our lives. And watching my kids get to see that, the biological kids of families here at Christ Haven who grow up alongside kids who come and go, what a neat way for our kids to get to learn unconditional love and really living a life of service and ministry. They're doing it when they're little all throughout their lives.
Yes, and you're setting that example to show them that, yes, this might sting, but you're going to come out this is how you cope with it when you do. We can do hard things, and it builds us stronger in our character, in our faith when we do. It's not something that we should shy away from just because it is challenging. It builds us stronger for the next challenge. My focus here, or our focus as homeschoolers, is to really encourage other homeschoolers or just other members of the community to be a part of wonderful organizations like Christ Haven, to support in any way that we can, really. So what sort of outreach would you say that Christ Haven needs help with the most, or maybe just list some ways that community members can help?
Absolutely. I think a big thing for us is empowering our volunteers to use their like individual unique giftings. I know that every nonprofit ever will tell you, like especially towards the end of the year, a big thing is financial support. That's nonprofits. We don't have any government funding, save like a small portion that's for our Family Resource Center. And so we don't, unlike foster care, we don't get money from the state for caring for kids. So we are always fundraising. So if kids want to be part of that, we actually have a program where kids can, and now the name of it just flew out of my head.
That's okay.
I'll think of it. And we can put it in like show notes or something. And we, kids can do that and be part of it and fundraise and just really hold an active part in helping Christ Haven be here. But another thing is by like volunteering with your family or volunteering individually. We have so many opportunities year round for kids and families to be part of like boots on the ground what we do. So one thing that a lot of families do together or kids do is volunteer in our food pantry. Every Friday starting at like 11, we do food boxes for anyone in the community who needs it. So it's a really neat way for our kids to like see firsthand the impact that their volunteering is having. I always encourage people to do that, especially if it's just your like first glimpse at being at Christ Haven. That's a great thing to do. Twice a year we have our spring and fall work days, and those are opportunities where we have hundreds of volunteers come out and we make this campus look beautiful. We go and do projects outside at every house, at the playgrounds, at the pavilion, and just really get to make sure we're stewarding this space. We have almost 60 acres, so we want to steward it as well as we can. And another thing would just be reaching out to Summer, our volunteer manager, and saying, hey, these are some things I'm really good at. Is there something I could do? So some of our house parents love when volunteers come in and help when we get new kiddos moving here to Christ Haven, make their rooms beautiful. We individualize every kid's room when they come here. So sometimes that's, a little boy who loves Sonic the Hedgehog, and so we'll do a cute Sonic the Hedgehog room. Or a teenage girl who's artsy and is into kind of that boho look, and so we're hanging string lights and we're doing, fluffy pillows. And volunteers help us with that day to day. Just making that space individualized for them. You can bring love boxes, birthday gifts, bake cookies, make dinners, really tons of hands-on opportunities. There's ones where you can get background checked and do a couple of trainings and then be like with the kids in our care or with our young adults. It really just depends on what you want to get involved with and how frequently you want to be here, but we've got really awesome volunteer opportunities, and not just for older kids. Really, for any age range, there's something that they can come out here and do.
That is wonderful, and definitely something that we need to take advantage of. It is definitely something that my family is wanting to be involved in. It's a way to teach our kids by doing, and I don't think there's any better way to teach our kids than by leading by example.
We're excited to have you. I think it's a really great. I brought my daughter out here and my nieces out here, and they love it. One of my nieces told me the other day, she was like, I want to work at Christ Haven when I grow up, just like you. Good, you do it, girl. So I think it's such a cool thing for our kids to be like actively hands and feet of Jesus and get to do that alongside of us. What an amazing way to be like, we are going to do this as a family to show each other what our priorities are, and that's our family and other people's families.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the time that you have given us today. I was going to ask, what are some things that are coming up for Christ Haven, looking ahead, and something that you would like to leave our listeners with?
I would love, we have really fun social media. If people want to follow us, it's Christ Haven for Children on Facebook and on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn as well, but that's more of like adults. If you want to see just what's going on here on the day-to-day, we have a CH neighborhood series, we share what the happenings are in our neighborhood here on campus. But as the holidays come up, there are tons and tons of things going on. Our food pantry is always bustling at the holidays, with lots of people doing food drives to make sure our shelves are full. There are Christmas parties happening on campus. We just finished our annual fashion show, raised a lot of money, over $113,000. So incredible, such a fun thing. In the spring, we'll have our golf tournament if anyone loves to golf. At this point, we are just looking forward to blessing our kids over the holidays. And so if that's something that people love, it's a great time to get involved, to say, hey, how can we do something fun around Christmas or Thanksgiving to help the kids that live here, the young adults, or their families off our campus just feel loved and seen during this time. I know my family does lots of stuff together at the holidays, and we like to do angel trees and sponsor families and kids together. And so those are some things that you can do if people want to reach out to us and say, hey, what can we do for the Christmas season to just kind of honor Christ? I mean, it's so fun, and we love when people get to do that.
That is wonderful, and it's really helps us focus more of what the season is really about. And it helps us kind of slow down, because the holidays can be, for many people, a very stressful time. There's just so much excess and so much stress of trying to have, either from traveling or the hustle and bustle of so many wonderful things. But sometimes so many wonderful things can be just so many things. And it's nice to take the focus off of ourselves for just a minute and share our gifts with others, because that's really what it's about.
Absolutely, it is.
That is really what it's about. Well, Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us your personal experience and your professional experience and your life with Christ Haven and the work that you do. I can tell the passion that you have for it shines through so beautifully, and Christ Haven is very lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. I tell people all the time, it is truly the honor of a lifetime to get to work here and do this work every day. When I am driving home in the evening and I see the kids run off the bus and come say, Maddie, and tell me about their day, give me hugs, I'm like, this is best. Lord, thank you for this being like what you've called me to in this season. So thanks for having me, and thanks for sharing and mobilizing your community to be part of what we're doing. As a foster and adopted mom myself, I always tell people, like, there's something you can do, like, find it and plug in, because it really is, it's God's heart, and it's changed our life so much for the better.
Oh, thank you so much, and we look forward to maybe seeing you when my son and I head out.
I am looking forward to it.
We're going to get over our strep and tonsillitis first, and then we're going to...
And then come on out.
That sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Want to know more about how you can help Christ Haven? If you live in the Fort Worth area and are looking to volunteer, we hope you will consider this amazing organization. Opportunities include helping with their food pantry or donation drives, assisting in the resale shop, grounds maintenance, assembling love boxes, or working with special events such as the Fall Festival or annual Charity Drive Fashion Show. Perhaps you would be interested in becoming a mentor or training to become a substitute caregiver, offering to babysit, sponsor parents' night out, or supplying respite care services. A screening process is involved, including graduated levels of background checks depending on your level of involvement with the youth and children in their care. Additional training for substitute caregivers and respite care services is required. If you are interested in volunteering, you can reach out to Christ Haven Volunteer Manager Summer Woods. If you live a bit further away or are unable to volunteer, you can still support this amazing organization through financial contributions, one-time or monthly, support wish lists through donations, or shop for gently used items at their resale item store. Prayers, of course, are always needed and always welcomed. To learn more, Visit their website at www.christshaven.org. This has been the It's Only Homeschooling podcast. Tune in to us on Podbean, YouTube, or our website at itsonlyhomeschooling.com to listen. With the It's Only Homeschooling podcast, we invite your family to join ours for life lessons beyond the classroom. We hope you'll make us one of your regular stops along the way in your journey. And remember, education is a journey, not a destination. Until we meet again, take a deep breath and relax. It's only homeschooling.